Hello everyone, and today, before we get diving into the deck or the gameplay or anything like that, you can already see it on your screen. I first want to say thank you to each and every one of you who have shown your support down below by subscribing, leaving comments, liking videos. It's all been amounting up so much, and I really do appreciate it. We're officially at 50 subscribers at the time of recording. Which, I'll be honest, may not sound like a large number to a lot of people out there, but when I started doing this just over, 6 weeks ago, so not even that long, I wasn't expecting this to go anywhere. This was just going to be a wee bit of fun in my spare time, so to see so many people liking it, a lot more than I was expecting anyway, is really great to see, honestly. So thank you so much for everyone chipping in here. And if you do want to join that and you want to see what we're doing going forward and see sort of how we can build on and improve everything that we've got, you know what the subscribe button is, big red button down there. Feel free to hit it. Doesn't cost you anything and it helps me out. And yeah, so what we're doing today then is heroes. It's not a massive change from our previous heroes list. The only real change is adding in Droplet in place of, I actually forgot what I replaced for Droplet, to be honest, but I knew that the deck was definitely missing this card. But ultimately, the deck is fairly simple. It's pretty much the definition of a DIY deck. Regardless of whether you're going first or second, you have pretty decent plays. If you're going first, you're setting up your Dark Law to get banishing and get sniping from their hand. You're setting up your DPE to pop their cards. You're setting up your Plasma to, basically negate everything. If you're going second, you're using the likes of Sunrise, Malicious Bane, DPE again, and being able to play multiple DPE and summon it much more fluently in this deck is amazing. But yeah, you're able to use these cards to just destroy your opponent's field, completely blow it up, and swing for more than lethal damage. So it is a really fun deck. It's not that complicated. There are a sort of few key quote-unquote combos, nothing crazy though. With the deck that you should know that we will be covering in detail towards the end. So as I said, if you have any recommendations, suggestions, leave them down below, subscribe while you're there, and let's get into game number 1. Alright, here we have game number 1. Now we are going second. I don't believe that was our choice though, it was our opponent. Our opponent's going to go for Pot of Extravagance here. We're not going to let him have a free draw too. Extravagance typically means it's going to be a back row heavy base deck here, so we're just going to try to limit his plays as much as we can. Pot of Duality reveals a Quero and an Elixir, so we know we're playing against Eldritch, which is unfortunate because everyone hates Eldritch. So set 4 from Eldritch, we don't know exactly what we're dealing with here, but we're going to try our best to play through it. We're going to use Faris. Faris is going to discard a hero monster to summon itself from the hand. Then it's going to play a Vision Hero Increase as a face-up trap card onto your field. Now, they're going to summon out their Golden Lord preemptively, I'm assuming just to make their trap cards live. Varus is going to summon, it's not going to summon, it's going to grab an Increase from the deck to play as a face-up continuous trap card. Our opponent's going to go for Imperial Order. That means no Fusion Destiny, no Polymerization, no Miracle Fusion, no nothing. We don't really have a main deck out to this, so we're going to have to rely on something else here. We do have a few options, so we're going to use Increase's effect on the Spell and Trap card zone, tribute the Faris to summon itself and a Vion. Vion gets sending the Malicious to the graveyard. It'll then banish the Shadow Mist from the grave to add Polymerization to hand. Then we're going to normal summon out Elemental Hero Stratos. Now, as well as his searching for a hero effect, you can also destroy spells and traps on your opponent's field up to the number of other hero monsters you control. So in this case, we have 2 other heroes. That means we pop 2 cards. And the best part, it's non-targeting. Our opponent flips up their compulsory evacuation device here because they don't know what we're going to do next. So he's going to bounce our Stratos back to the hand here. I don't know what he was expecting. It would have been smarter to bounce one of the upper heroes. Either way, we're going to pop the Imperial Order and the remaining face down. It was a Guardian of the Golden Land. We'll banish Malicious from the graveyard to summon another from the deck so we can go into our Plasma. Plasma then is going to grab his Eldritch the Golden Lord and equip it on to boost its attack points up to 3100. We're going to polymerize into Sunrise. Sunrise is going to grab Miracle Fusion from the deck. Miracle Fusion will banish monsters from the graveyard to summon out an Elemental Hero Fusion monster. So we're going to go with Escuridao, and that is lethal. 20, 29, 29, 35. So really straightforward deck, playing against what set 4 Eldritch, which again, I know how it feels to play against stun back row just like everyone else. With a deck like this, you would typically think that you would fall victim to that type of thing. I know I would compare this deck an awful lot to my Utopia deck in terms of how it functions. Obviously its endgame is completely different, but it's very similar in that it's very monster heavy but reliant upon a few particular cards that Imperial Order and other floodgates tend to stop. So it's always nice whenever you've got a game here that basically just kicks that to the curb, or you've got evidence to show that heroes can play through its counters. There's no real card in the game that this deck can't play through. There are certain ones that make it very difficult, skill drain, summon limit, things like that, but you always have an out, primarily because of Stratos, to be perfectly honest. Stratos is the deck savior when it comes to dealing with back row heavy decks. You also have Sunrise. Whenever whenever one of your other heroes attacks or is attacked, Sunrise can pop a card in your opponent's field once per turn, so that is another good way of doing it, although typically summoning him under those conditions can be hard. But yeah, straightforward game number one, just shows the, as I said, the homebrewed OTK, playing through interruptions, playing through floodgates and things, finding your own way to get your win. So that's game number one. Let's get into game number two. Alright, getting into game number two here, we are going first this time instead. We have a pretty decent looking hand here. We're going to go for a hero lives to grab our Stratos. Stratos is going to add Elemental Hero Shadow Mist from our deck to our hand. Ferris then will discard Shadow Mist. When Shadow Mist is sent to the graveyard, you probably saw it in the last game, it will add a hero monster from your deck to your hand, so it's a very good discard target off of Ferris. It's also a very good thing to special summon off of a hero lives, because if it's special summoned you can grab a mass change, but we already have one. Same play as last time, tribute the Ferris for the increase and the Vion out to the field. Vion send Malicious, banish the Shadow Mist for polymerization. That's your bread and butter combo for the deck. So it is, you're trying to stack your graveyard as much as possible. We're going to banish Malicious to summon Malicious so we can polymerize into a Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. So being able to summon the Phoenix Enforcer without relying upon Fusion Destiny is amazing. We're going to go in the Cross Crusader here. Cross Crusader will resummon the Malicious, as well as tributing it then to search our deck for a hero monster. So we're going to grab Plasma. Denier then is going to special summon itself to the field while we control a fusion monster, then place the banished Malicious back on top of the deck so we can use the Malicious in the grave to banish once more to summon again. Now we tribute 3 for Destiny Hero Plasma. That's pretty much a skill drain across your opponent's board. We send Denier to the graveyard to summon out our Dark Law, so this is pretty much your ideal turn 1. We even have Call by the Grave, which is very, very good as well. Our opponent special summons out their Ecclesia, but they cannot search. They're being negated by Plasma. They realize that there is absolutely no way for them to out this board, and they scoop it up. So what exactly does that board do? Everyone knows DPE. Pop one of yours, pop one of theirs. Plasma is effectively a skill drain. Your opponent cannot activate the effects of their face-up monsters. Or sorry, no. Their effects are negated, so they can be activated. And Dark Law, basically any card that would be sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead, and the first time they add a card from their deck to their hand, you get to snipe a random card out of their hand and banish it. Dark Law is extremely powerful, so is DPE, so is Plasma. You've got all of these huge high impact cards being able to be summoned on your first turn. The addition of Denier into this deck is amazing. I play it at 1 still. I don't think more than 1 is necessary. But the 1 copy of Denier is amazing at facilitating these sorts of turn 1 plays. So yeah, don't look at heroes as a turn 2 OTK based strategy. It can do both just as well. I honestly prefer it playing first, because Dark Law in particular is such a brutal monster to play through in the modern metagame, where there's a lot of things that just rely far too heavily on the graveyard. With Sword Souls that's not quite as true, but most of our decks completely fold to Dark Law. So that's it for game number 2. Again, quick, simple, easy, like most games of heroes are. You either win immediately or lose immediately, and there's very rarely an in-between. Let's get into game number 3. Speaking of Sword Souls, it would not be a ranked Master Duel video if they did not make an appearance. Here in game number 3, we're going up against Sword Souls. We are going second. But looking at our hand, we are looking very, very nice. We have the Droplet, we have Stratos, we have Ferris. We're pretty much good to go. Our opponent's going to go into bog standard plays here. Now, he's going to grab the Long Wand. He's going to draw one Moyi. The Strategist is going to discard Blackout. When I saw that, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not even that worried about this. Blackout would have been my primary concern in regards to dealing with this particular deck. But now that it's gone, I'm not even worrying about it. He does have 2 face downs. I don't like 2 face downs, but you know, we'll do what we have to do. We're going to use reinforcements of the army to grab Shadow Mist from the deck. We'll activate a Hero Lives. We're doing this to proc his Baron. So now we're going to chain our droplet so we can send the Hero Lives and the Shadow Mist to the graveyard. But he's going to go for Vanity's Emptiness here. So unfortunately, our Hero Lives still doesn't resolve. We were going to use it to grab potentially a Stratos or a Shadow Mist, but that doesn't matter anymore. We are going to negate his Baron and his Grandmaster, so they are now non-threats. We're going to grab Liquid Soldier, maybe not the smartest of adds, but I didn't really know what to add. Stratos is going to grab a Dusted Gold. A Dusted Gold will grab Dark Calling. Now we're going to just swing in, take out the Grandmaster, get 400 damage across the board. That is to get rid of Vanity's Emptiness, so now we can special summon once again. We're going to use Polymerization to go into Elemental Hero Sunrise. Now, because Sunrise was summoned and Liquid Soldier was used as material, Sunrise is going to search our deck for Miracle Fusion, just like it did in the last game, and Liquid Soldier is going to allow us to draw 2 and discard 1. Then we were hoping to draw into another hero monster, but unfortunately we didn't. We're going to use Dark Calling here to fusion summon from the graveyard into Evil Hero Malicious Bane. Malicious Bane will wipe out all of your opponent's monsters with less attack points than itself and permanently boost itself by 200 attack points per monster destroyed. So we're looking pretty solid. Our opponent plays the Despot 003, which you don't see an awful lot of. We're going to try to hit him with Max C here, but the remaining face down card was Crossout Designator, so unfortunately no Max C for us. Now, Despot 003 is going to basically mean that this particular Solar Troll deck is hyper-focused around the Auroradon combo. He's going to summon out 001 from the deck. He's going to use Crystron Hulk to grab a second 001, use these two to go into Auroradon, and something I didn't know before today, or knew but it wasn't very relevant. Despot 001 is not once per turn. He activates both in the graveyard, and both will resummon themselves back to the field. Of course, we all knew that it wasn't once per turn, but not very many of us play it in this particular fashion. He's going to tribute 2 to grab a Mega Phantom Beast O-Lion. O-Lion and a token's going to go into the Garden Rose Maiden and grab another token. Then he's going to go into the Coral Dragon. So this guy's playing a fairly unique version of Sword Souls. I can always appreciate the unique, although I don't like where it's going. He's going to go into the Ravenous Croco Dragon to draw 1. Coral Dragon as well is going to allow him to draw 1 as well. He's going to summon out his Supreme Sovereign now at this stage. Supreme Sovereign being pretty much the only out to Malicious Bane, unfortunately. It's the only card they have that can really get rid of him. Now he can banish it and the Liquid Soldier from the graveyard. He's going to go into Cloud Castle. Cloud Castle will grab the Ravenous Crocodile, whatever, from the graveyard, and then he's going to Exceed Summon into the true King of all Calamities. And lastly, Fusion Destiny for insult to injury. So he's got pretty much one of the most powerful fusion monsters on the board, one of the most powerful synchro monsters on the board, and one of the most powerful Exceed monsters on the board. So this guy has pretty much slapped everything onto the table and has decided, you know what, fun's not allowed here, you're finished. And unfortunately we were. So we played through the initial turn 1, you know what, we played very, very well, we did everything we could. Sword Souls is just on occasion a wee bit too much, especially this guy's version of it. I faced a few unique versions of Sword Souls recently. They're all really, really cool. I have one in particular that I commandeered from an opponent of mine that was playing like a Tenyi Rose Dragon deck, which I had heard whispers of, but I had never tried myself. They were playing it at like 60 cards. It was a bit garbage how they were doing it, and they did lose that. No, they did not lose that. I couldn't play against them whatsoever. So even in their 60 card version, they still managed to completely destroy us. So expect to see that on the channel, but that's a bit of a tangent. Either way, game number 3, we tried our best. We broke through Brawn de Fleur, Grandmaster, Crossout. We got through a lot of interruption, and we still lost. So what can you do apart from move into game number 4? And here we are going into game number 4 here with our hero deck, and what a game it is going to be. You'll like this one. My Fusion Destiny in this deck is not only a really efficient way of summoning out the Destroyer, it's also one of the deck's best starter cards, because it can put a Malicious and a Denier in the graveyard. Malicious can obviously summon another from deck. Denier will resummon itself and put the banished Malicious back into the deck to be reused again. So we're going to link these two off with the Cross Crusader, who is going to grab back the Malicious to be tributed to search our deck for any hero monster. So we're going to grab Vion. We are limited to Dark Heroes this turn. We're going to normal summon Vion, which will send Shadow Mist from deck to grave, which will then grab our Plasma. We'll banish the Shadow Mist from the graveyard to grab Polymerization. And now we're in a position where we can use Malicious in the graveyard again to summon another Malicious from deck. Now we sort of had to choose between Plasma and Dark Law. We chose Plasma. Felt like the overall sort of negate was more prevalent. So we're going to set our mass change just in case, and we'll pass. Our opponent plays Gear Town. He's unironically playing Ancient Gears. This Wyvern and those sleeves were not for show. So this is pretty much Jaden versus Crowler. This is the first episode of the anime, so it is. Now, this is an important little piece of interaction to pay attention to. So, Gear Town, well, what is happening here is Catapult is going to destroy Gear Town to summon out probably an Ancient Gear Golem from the deck. When Gear Town is destroyed, it will summon another Ancient Gear from the deck. So he's going to basically be up 2 cards on his Ancient Gears, which he's going to need in order to fusion summon out his big Ancient Gear monsters like the Chaos Giant. Now, what we do here then is we're going to take our 2 problems at once. If you pay attention to the text in Gear Town, and this is why it matters so much, it is when this card is destroyed. So if we destroy this card as Chain Link 2, it will not activate because the last thing to have happened was not the destruction of Gear Town, but instead the resolution of Catapult. And Catapult will resolve without effect because it has no target left to destroy. So we take care of both of those big problem cards for once. Our opponent actually drew a really good hand, having both of those out for Gears. Unfortunately, we were just that little bit better. We had the upper hand. We got our DPE back. We don't draw into any plays, unfortunately. But to be fair, I sort of did want to see a little bit more of this guy's deck, so we're not going to go crazy. We're going to set our droplet and pass a game. We swung in with DP just in case it was like an Ancient Gear box or something. He's going to go for Urgent Schedule, which is going to grab the Hound and the Super Express out from the deck, but unfortunately he didn't have any more plays with all of his effects being negated. DP, pop the Hound, and we're going to use our Plasma basically to suck up that Express just to gain half of its attack points onto our Plasmas. We're going to go up to 3400, and we're going to swing in then 34 to the face, and we decide that's enough. 5k directly over the line, and that is game. So we didn't get to see a lot of Ancient Gears, unfortunately. It's not a very good deck. I will be perfectly honest with you. It has seen better days. In fact, maybe that's not even true. It's never really been that good. But either way, Ancient Gears are really cool. I may build a deck around them in the near-ish future. It's definitely not top priority, but we'll get there because it is quite a cool deck. But yeah, again, ending it off with an iconic matchup, Heroes versus Ancient Gears, pretty much sums it all up. So let's then dive back into the deck list, and we'll discuss a couple more of the intricacies in a bit more depth. Alright, so here we are coming back to the deck list. So we're basically breaking it down into the difference between going first and going second. I personally like playing the deck going first. I have an instinct of going first. Going second by choice turns me. I just don't, it doesn't work with me as a person. Obviously certain decks are built to go that way, but I'll pass. I'll rather just build it better for going first. Whether or not that makes it a better or a worse deck, I'll leave up to you guys. You can make your minds up down in the comments and let me know if I'm an idiot, but this is just how I like to play the game. So going first, what is your objective going first? Dark Law, DPE, Plasma. Can you get all 3 of them? Yes, we did in one of the games. It's not that easy though, so usually 2 of the 3 will it'll do. It'll more than suffice. So Dark Law, how do you summon Dark Law? You use Mass Change on one of your Dark monsters. You're basically playing 6 copies of Mass Change, 3 here, and 3 copies of A Hero Lives. A Hero Lives will special summon out Shadow Mist from the deck, and when that happens, it will add Mass Change to your hand. So you're playing 6 copies of Mass Change. To get out Plasma, all you need to do is tribute 3 monsters. To make that happen, it's your bread and butter Ferris combo. It generates more than enough advantage. Fusion Destiny also really helps in that regard too. Plus it puts DPE on the board, so if you're seeing Fusion Destiny, your hand is automatically busted, especially going first. So bear that in mind. Plasma is super easy to get on the field. It is a little costly though. You could usually sort of have to sacrifice at least one of her play. But yeah, and as we said, DPE can be summoned by Fusion Destiny or simply by using Polymerization, which you can search for during the Ferris combo, and any of your Destiny heroes basically. If you have a Malicious, which you will send during the Ferris combo, Again, a lot of it comes around Pharos, which we'll get to in a second. You'll send a Malicious to the graveyard. You can resurrect, you can banish it to summon another from deck, and if you have any other Destiny hero in hand, that's your DPE off of just your polymerization. So very, very easy to summon that as well. Now, what is this Pharos combo I keep referring back to? You saw it in the gameplay. It's pretty much your bread and butter. You discard a hero monster to summon Pharos out to the field. Pharos will play your Increase as a continuous trap card. While Increase is a continuous trap card, you contribute a hero to summon it, and if you do that, summon another hero from deck. So you're going to summon out Vion. Vion, when summoned, sends a hero from deck to graveyard, so you can send Malicious. If Malicious is already there, you can send Shadow Mist. When it's sent to the graveyard, you get to search for a card. Now, bear in mind, you can only use one of her effects per turn. If you have already searched for Mass Change, you cannot search for a hero as well. It is one or the other, bear that in mind. So Vion basically fills in a hole in your combo. It sends Malicious to the grave, normally Malicious, to facilitate your Crusader plays and everything like that. It can also banish a hero monster from your graveyard, usually what you discarded for Pharos, to search for polymerization. So off of this combo, you now have 2 monsters on board, 2 dark hero monsters on board. You have polymerization in hand and Malicious ready to go in your graveyard. So you're pretty much set up to go from there into whatever plays you want. Typically, you will go into Cross Crusader. Cross Crusader will summon the Malicious back to the graveyard, then tribute it to search for a hero monster, whatever piece of the combo it is you're missing. And you also haven't used your normal summon yet, so you can normal summon out the likes of Stratos. And if you don't have Stratos in hand, you just use your Cross Crusader to search for him. So again, the deck is super consistent. Every little bit of it plays with every other little bit is very, very strong. Because of that, it doesn't have a lot of room for hand traps, so we're playing 2 Ash, 2 Maxi, 2 Call by the Grave, and 3 Droplet. I think that's pretty much as good as it's going to get. So what's that, 9 spots for you to play around with? I'll take them out just so you can have a look at it. That's pretty much what I would consider the core of my version of the deck. You can maybe even take out Celestial. I don't think I've ever resolved or used Celestial. It's purely here to make DPE a little bit more consistent off of Poly. But yeah, you can play with these last 9 spots however you like. I just liked my particular lineup. I feel like it was consistent, it worked, and Forbidden Droplet quickly becoming one of my favorite cards. It just cleaned house. So that's pretty much my version of heroes here. There are a couple of other cool little combos, especially around Mass Change. So if you manage to summon out your Absolute Zero, which you can do very easily, you would use Polymerization off your Pharos combo. If you're not going into DPE, you would summon Sunrise. Sunrise can search for Miracle Fusion, and you can use Miracle Fusion to summon out your Absolute Zero if you have the Liquid Soldier in play. When Absolute Zero has a really cool combo with Mass Change, so you can use Mass Change to tribute Absolute Zero to go into Acid. When Absolute Zero is sent to the graveyard, you destroy all monsters your opponent controls. When Acid is summoned, you destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. So basically, if you Mass Change onto an Absolute Zero, that is a free reset of your opponent's board. You just wipe out everything. So very, very strong combo. Other than that, the deck's very simple. You saw most of it in action, so I'm not going to waste your time anymore. I have nothing else really to say on the deck, so if you liked what you saw, feel free to subscribe to keep an eye out for more. You can join the Discord to get a conversation going around heroes or any other deck you're a fan of. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me here today. I'll see you on the next one.